This video completes the series of in-depth videos analyzing the development of the hand function in this quadriplegic boy. We'll be analyzing the changes that took place 24 months after the start of ABR program. Again, I believe that the magnitude of the overall changes is self-evident. That's him at the start. And we'll focus on the exact specifics of the transformations and try to draw the lessons which should be of pretty much a universal value for everyone who wants to see their kids improving in their hand function. This picture demonstrates how he's able to reach for the ball which is located far away from the body while staying comfortably and confidently in the tailor sitting position. And I already described in detail in the sitting chapter the development of these three wedges of distance between the ground and the leg, chest and the leg, and between the head and the shoulders. All of those indicating much better weight bearing in the tailor sitting position and respective release of the hand where he doesn't need the extra support from it in order to reach forwards. As a result, he is really able to use his hand with a lot of freedom and confidence. And I would highlight once again, hand and arm function following the improvement of the weight bearing. That's the edge sitting position, which is obviously more difficult than the tailor sitting position. And what we're observing here, his ability to connect hand-eye coordination. You can see that he's turning his eye towards the ball and then maintaining this contact, the eye contact, reaching with his hand for the ball. This is really a very important stage, and let's have a look at 6 months before, where we discussed the challenges that he was having in providing the hand-eye coordination. Quite obvious, he's trying to reach for the ball here, but the inability to get the selective movement of the arm from the movement of the head, that was the key challenge. The head was only moving straight in the sagittal plane as well as the arm. So he was unable to get this completion. I discussed this in detail, pointing out that that would be a major step for him as the transition to the development of the fine motor skill, because it's quite easy to understand that without visual control of the distant object, it is quite difficult to produce purposeful movements. And of course, if we were to look back into the past, that was even more difficult for him to get this selective movement of the head which would provide him with the visual control of a distant object. And by now you would know that our key goal is to emphasize the structural background, the development of the segmentation which preceded this ability. That's what you can see very clearly on that set of pictures. His ability to have the independent head movement. That's the basis of this control and distinction. In ABR, we are focused on creating the opportunities, creating the underlying mobilities for the child, rather than trying to force them or trying to teach them to do moves which are impossible within their existent structural limitations. Like this super rigid head attachment that we used to see in the beginning of the process. And of course, when showing you this elegant head rotation, I would like to emphasize the transition of stages. I want to look back at 15 months earlier for you to realize how much of the limited movement of the head we had even at that stage. And correspondingly, with that short neck, we have seen that combined movement of the two arms and the movement of the head which had no selectivity in it. So I continue to emphasize my main point and the main ABR principle: accumulation of small changes and the build-up of the structural basis. In this particular episode, what we are looking at is another key finding. For the first time, you're able to see the huge breakthrough that he has now in the hand function. What I'm focusing on here is the selective mobility at the level of the elbow. Please watch it once again. What you can see very clearly, that his shoulder, his head, his upper body, all of them are staying still, and there is a selective movement of his lower arm and the hand. And again, what we have seen in the past, we observed the combined overall movement, everything moving like a unit. His rib cage, his head, his entire arm as the single unit, starting all the way from the shoulder. Even half a year before, he still didn't have that extra freedom of movement within his arm, especially in the sitting position. So now we can proudly present those cones of the stability. Stability of the trunk, stability of the neck and head, stability of the shoulder, and then within the much increased cone of the movement for the shoulder itself, we are seeing the next level of the division between the stable arm and mobile elbow, and some extra room for movement even at the level of the wrist. To illustrate this example even better, I'm moving to the pictures from 1 year before, and we can see that at that point his entire arm was moving just like a unit within a huge arc where he would use the entire arm as a single cone without the subdivisions within it. And I believe it's pretty much self-evident to understand the importance of this selective elbow movement for the development of the hand function. The next thing we're looking at in this particular photo as well would be the hand grip. You can now see that he is able to open the hand and then maintain the grip all the way through without losing it. Yes, of course, the wrist still has the limitations, but as we can see following his movement, he doesn't lose that grip, he keeps the contact with the ball, and he releases it confidently at the due moment. And it's also important to see how well does he follow the ball movement with his eye gaze. And again, for the comparison, we'll look at the picture from half a year prior, and we would see that even though he was able to get the first initial opening of the hand, but then he was losing that grip, the hand was getting fisted. Well, therefore, this ability to maintain the grip on the ball is extremely important. One can see that he is able to have it all the way through the entire movement. Whilst previously, even like half a year ago, that grip was lost if the arm was stretched outwards and the weight-bearing position was challenging. So you can see through the variety of these examples how the elements stack up, how the mini improvements get combined, piled up, reinforce each other, and gradually build this tendency for that 3 domains of the transition: improved segmentation, improved weight bearing, improved voluntary purposeful function. And I believe these videos that you are now watching have done at least some job in this direction, helped you to understand and establish this link, help you to realize how does the hand function or any other free function is being built and how it could be enhanced, improved and developed. I do hope that you will find value in it and you will be able to start looking at your own children with the new set of eyes, with the new lens, being able to understand better their needs and their reserves for their development. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that it was worth your time.